Just waiting for a few more people to shuffle in. All right, I think we're ready to start. All right, welcome everybody. My name is Ahmed, and today I'm going to cover paid and organic strategies for e-commerce marketing. A little about me. I'm the Director of Marketing and Learning Programs at Astrolabs, and I'm going to basically give you an overview today of, on a high level, but also give you some practical tips for you to implement if you're in the e-commerce field or if you're thinking about starting your own e-commerce venture, in terms of what you need to know from a marketing point of view. So what we'll be covering today is basically, we'll go over high-level marketing strategies for e-commerce. We'll talk about things like your overall buyer's journey. We'll talk about paid channels and organic or free channels. All right. So keep in mind, this is just the beginning. This is basically a sample of our week-long program where we go over all channels in digital marketing. So we cover things like display ads, paid search, organic search, SEO, organic social media, retention marketing, Google Analytics, and we also give you a certification at the end of the program. And we also help you get Google certified. So it's a full certification program. If you want to learn more, go to astrolabs.com/digital marketing. All right, so let's first start off by thinking about a e-commerce site. What are the components that are involved in setting up an e-commerce site? So let's say that you're thinking about setting one up, or you have an offline business and you want to bring it online. What are the components or the pieces that you need to actually get started with an e-commerce business, from just having an idea of it to actually making your first sale? And if you think of anything, just type it in the chat. What do you think are the components of an e-commerce business? Traffic, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's more on like the marketing and sales side. Exactly, yeah. You need traffic, you need sales. So again, like basically, if you want to have a e-commerce site, there's basically 5 things that are involved. You have to have something to sell. You have to have a place to sell. You have to have legal setup. You have to have operations and delivery set up. And the final piece, which is mainly what I'll be covering in today's talk, is the final component, which is basically marketing and selling. So I'm not going to cover everything else from an e-commerce point of view. I'm going to assume that you already have your own business or you already set up your own website. Okay, so on the last stage, let's say that you already have something to sell, you already have your site set up, everything is set up, and you're just thinking, how do I get more customers? How do I get more sales? So it comes down to marketing, right? And this is one of the key things that you should know about e-commerce, is that the probably main difference between a brick and mortar store and an e-commerce store is the marketing cost. That's one of the biggest cost differences. In a way, marketing is sort of your digital real estate, right? So if you think about it, like let's say that I'm starting a e-commerce business and I just build it. People aren't just going to automatically come to me. It's not like me setting up a shop in Dubai Mall or Sheikh Zayed Road and it's just there, people can see it and they'll come to it. That's probably what the main difference is with the e-commerce store, is you actually have to be deliberate in terms of getting people to come to your store and actually get customers. So just keep that in mind, is marketing costs will always be higher for a online or a e-commerce store as opposed to an offline store. Offline stores also have marketing costs, but it's not the same because people need to know about you, right? But it's not just about paid ads. There's also other strategies that I'll go over. Some are paid, some are free. So a common question people have is, okay, I want to start with marketing. What is a good marketing budget? Or what is a place for me to start in terms of how much should I spend? And this is something that we actually did research on, looking at startups that are in our network, looking at even Fortune 500 companies, looking at the average marketing budget across hundreds of different data points. And what we found is that a good marketing budget is between 10 and 20% of your revenue. So let's say, for example, you're selling something for 100. I mean, whether that's 100 dirhams, $100, it doesn't matter. But let's say that, that you're selling something for 100. How much it costs you to actually get a customer to pay you that 100? For a successful e-commerce business, your goal should be to have your marketing costs be between 10 and 20%. If it's more than that, it'll be hard for you to break even on your cost, especially if you're bootstrapping it, if you're doing it on your own and you don't have any funding. So keep that in mind, is that you want to try to keep your marketing budget between 10 and 20%. And that could mean that you have to raise your prices, or it could mean that you have to rely more on the organic or the free channels that I'll talk about. Okay, so one component of this that is important that you think about from a marketing point of view is you want to focus on what's called performance marketing. Has anyone heard this term before? Performance marketing? Has anyone come across this word? Who can tell me what performance marketing is in the chat? Paid ads? Yeah, in short, it's basically, I mean, the basic definition of performance marketing is you want to make back your money right away by focusing on performance. So there's a famous saying in marketing. It's actually by John Wanamaker. It's from the early 20th century. And it says that half of the money that I spend on advertising is wasted, but I just don't know which half. So it's a famous joke in marketing that basically you spend all this money on marketing and you only, I mean, it only works half of the time and you're not sure what half actually works. However, nowadays with digital marketing, with tracking tools, you can get closer to knowing 100% all the money that that you're spending, where it goes, and how much is actually getting you a sale. So performance marketing basically means that you are focused on making back your money right away. Instead of saying, okay, I'm gonna pay for a billboard and eventually maybe it'll give me a sale. Instead of doing that, and basically trying something out and hoping that it works, instead you focus on deliberate campaigns that you try to make your money back right away or as soon as possible. So the idea basically is, I want to spend $20 and I want to get back $100. So the idea is not, okay, I'm going to spend thousands and then hopefully it's going to work. The idea is I spend in a targeted way and I slowly, gradually build up my budgets where I'm making back all the money that I'm spending. That's known as performance marketing, where you focus on the final performance of the campaigns, which is usually sales or revenue of the campaign. So this strategy is split into two main sections. It's split into organic, which is basically free. So if you hear the word organic in marketing circles, that basically means it's a free channel. Organic means it's a channel that you don't have to pay money for the ad. You still have to dedicate time to it, whether that's your own time or time of your staff or someone that you're working with. But in terms of actual payment, you don't have to pay to actually run these ads. It's more just about creating content and doing what's called inbound marketing, which I'll talk about in a bit. The other side is the paid side, which I'll also talk about, which is running ads. That could be Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, LinkedIn ads, any ad that you have online. And that's also split into a few different categories. All right. So one thing that you should know, and this is an important concept whenever you're selling any product, is to understand that there are actually 5 stages that your customer could be at. So the first thing that you need to know when you're starting any marketing campaign is to think about what stage of awareness are your customers at. So to give you an example of this, let's say that I'm launching a brand new product, right? It's a new invention. Let's say I discovered a way to, I don't know, let's say fly, right? Like I built like a jetpack, right? In that case, it would be an unaware market. So people don't know that this exists yet. So sometimes if your product is completely brand new, it's a lot harder to market it because people are completely unaware that there's even a solution for this problem, right? So if I'm targeting a product that people don't even know exists, that's a completely different way of targeting than if I'm targeting something that everybody knows. So the extreme case on the other side is something that everyone already knows about, like a iPhone. Everyone knows what an iPhone is. Everyone knows what a phone is. Everyone knows what the problem of having a phone is. So in that case, that's what's known as a most aware market, where they already know everything about the product. I just have to convince them maybe on price. So it's a different strategy that you have to think about is what stage is your product at? Most of you will probably be at a stage where you're somewhere in the middle. So maybe I'm selling something like a shirt, right? People know what shirts are and people know why they need shirts. So I just have to convince them, why is my shirt better than someone else's shirt, right? However, if I'm selling something that people already know about, like I said, like a brand name product, like a certain kind of shoe or a certain kind of bag or a certain kind of phone, that would be a aware market because they already know about this product and they know about this brand. So my messaging is going to be different. So that's why you have to keep in mind, to start off, when you're doing any e-commerce, think first of all, what stage are they at in terms of how aware are they of this product and this service? And do they actually know this brand or not? And then based on that, you have to think about what do I have to convince them of to basically move them down that funnel. So think about your product, think about exactly what you're selling and what stage of awareness are people for your solution. So like I said, if I'm selling a, like let's say shirt, that's something that people already know about that problem, that they have to wear a shirt. They know about the solution that there are several brands of shirts on the market. If it's a brand new shirt, I'll have to convince them of why my brand is better, maybe in terms of design, in terms of price, in terms of comfort. I'll have to think about that, right? So just keep that in mind. Next is you have to think about your actual customer persona. So there's also a saying in marketing that if you're selling to everybody, then you're selling to nobody. And the idea is basically that one mistake people often make is they say, okay, my product is for everybody. I'm selling to anyone that wants this product. But if you do it that way, it's very hard for you to actually target people and to actually run relevant messagings in your marketing. So it's actually much better if instead of saying I sell to everybody, start with a certain customer persona and design messages for that persona, and then expand and start doing more personas. So eventually your product might have 50 personas, but you always have to start with a single one and market to that audience first, and then expand based on that. If I give you an example, Facebook, right? Facebook it's a service that is used by everybody. But when they just started off, they didn't start just marketing to everybody. They said, okay, I want to focus on college students that are studying at these handful of universities. So they started even very specifically, and then they slowly expanded. So if Facebook can do that, all of us can do that with our products. So you need to think about your customer. Who exactly are they? So think about things like what demographic are they? What age are they? Where do they live? What are their interests? And then build this persona around them. So even sometimes giving them a name is a good idea. So I might say, okay, my customer persona is someone named Sarah, who's 31, who's a working mom, who is interested in healthy living. That's a persona. Then in my messaging and my targeting and everything I'm doing, I can basically direct it so it's focused on that persona, and it'll find people that are similar to her and build from there. And then I can expand to more and more personas. So those are my first two tips, is that number one, make sure that you understand the stage of awareness of your product. How aware are people of its solution and the brand that you're offering? Step two is to think in detail of the customer persona. So think about who is the customer, and exactly try to paint a picture as if you're seeing them in front of you. Even give them a name. That can also help. Okay, so this is a famous framework that we designed. that basically goes through marketing in 4 stages. And this is basically what we teach in our programs, that marketing is basically split into 4 main stages. So the first is push marketing, which is basically all forms of display ads, which are either images or videos. So examples of that could be things on the Google Display Network, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, LinkedIn. So all the ads that you see that are either images or videos online, that's known as push marketing. It's called push marketing because you're basically pushing a message onto people while they're browsing. So imagine that I have a target in my mind that I'm targeting. Let's say from earlier, someone named Sarah, and I have her persona in my mind. I can basically target her with my ad by targeting her demographic through Facebook or any other channel. And then I can show her my ad. But keep in mind that this is the least effective way of doing marketing, because I'm basically pushing a message onto her and hoping that it sticks. So she didn't actually search for my brand yet. She doesn't actually maybe even know what my brand is or what my product is. And I'm basically trying to push a message onto her and hope that, that it sticks. So push marketing is the channel where you can reach the most number of people, because with push marketing, I can reach literally millions of people. Anyone on the internet that is browsing, I can pretty much reach them online. However, it's the least effective channel because it's the least aware channel of your product or your service. Because usually these people are browsing. Imagine someone that's browsing on Instagram and they just see an ad for something. That is push marketing. The next channel that I could target is what's known as pull marketing. This is basically where I meet them halfway. So I find a customer that is already searching for my product. Let's say they're searching for shirts, and I show an ad to buy a shirt, right? That could be in the form of Google search ads, where someone is searching for my product and I show them my product. It could also be any paid listing service like Dubizzle, or any service where I can list my product. It could also be Google shopping ads. So any ads that you see online where people are shopping. I mean, if you go on Google, there's a tab called shopping, and those ads appear as what are called Google shopping ads. So that's another example of that you also see if you type something. So for example, now if you go on Google and you type the word like, let's say, laptop, right? It'll show you pictures of laptops as an ad. Those are known as Google shopping ads. And then if there's some text underneath, that'll be Google search ads. So that's the second bucket, where I can target people that are searching for something. And this is a little more effective because those people are searching for my product, right? It's a lot different. I mean, imagine that I'm selling a shirt, right? If I'm selling that shirt to someone that's just browsing on Instagram, I can reach more people that way, but it'll be less effective because maybe they're not searching for my product or they don't want to buy my product. However, if someone is actively searching for it, they're much more likely to convert into a customer. However, the number of people is going to be less because there's not as many people searching as opposed to just browsing online. So there's a trade-off between getting more people, more reach, and being more effective in your marketing. Next is long-term marketing. This is basically any form of inbound or content marketing. This is where you focus on SEO, which is basically how to rank your site organically or for free on Google without having to pay. So pull marketing is basically how to get your site to appear if someone searches for a term, but as an ad. So pull marketing is a paid channel. Long-term marketing or inbound marketing is a free channel. But as I said, it takes time. So for example, let's say that I'm targeting the word laptops, right? If I'm targeting it as an ad, I can appear number one as an ad now if I pay enough money as an ad. But if I wanted to appear on the first page organically on Google, that might take me a few months or even longer because it's a competitive term. So long-term marketing is one that takes a long time, but it's free, it's organic. And forms of this could be Google search, SEO, search engine optimization, where you basically make changes to your site so it ranks organically. That's one form of it. Another form of it is organic social media, which is basically posting on social media for free and building up your own audience. The final channel is customer retention, which is basically keeping people as customers. So there's a famous saying in marketing that it is 5 times cheaper to keep a current customer than to sign a new customer. So one of the things that you have to keep in mind, especially for a e-commerce site, is you want to get people that buy from you multiple times, because that's the only effective way to actually become profitable in the long term. You don't want to have a product that people just buy once and then they never buy from you again. You want to try to upsell them, cross-sell them, and basically build up what's called your customer lifetime value. So you basically have people buy from you multiple times and not just one time, and that's it. And that can be targeted through email marketing, automated drip campaigns, and remarketing campaigns. All right. So in terms of paid channels, that's basically the first 2 categories here. So push and pull marketing, these are paid channels. So that's what I'll cover first. And these 2 on the bottom, these are the organic channels. So the paid channels for marketing, you can get immediate results from them, like I said, but they typically have a lower conversion rate. So they're less effective because, you're basically paying to appear, as opposed to just people following you, or, on their own organically. You have to keep your cost in check, especially if you're doing ads, because it's really easy to spend a lot of money on ads. Basically, Google and Facebook will take as much money as you give them. So you want to make sure that you keep your cost in check when you're running any form of paid ads. So to go over the main channels that you can do with paid marketing, there's push marketing, like I said earlier, which is basically display networks. That's one channel underneath it. So that could be anywhere where you see an ad. So for example, CNN, BBC, Gulf News, any publication or any shows some form of an ad. That ad is usually run through what's called the ad network, where you basically pay the ad network to show your ad on those different sites. The biggest example of this is the Google display network. And you can get started with this if you just go to Google Ads and sign up for an account. And it basically shows your ads on 90% of all websites on the internet that are non-social media sites. So ad networks are basically all of the places where you see ads that's not a social media site. So in terms of push marketing, there's basically 2 main channels. There's social media ads, which are Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, TikTok. And then there's non-social media sites, which are the ad network side, which is basically any publication, any blog. YouTube is also an example of this, where people are producing content and they show ads on that content. So those are the 2 main channels in push marketing. Pull marketing, like I said, that's Google Shopping ads, search ads, and any form of paid listings, basically. All right. So something else that I want to go over is when you're running ads, you also want to think about, as I mentioned earlier, what stage are your customers at? And one of the frameworks that worked well for the ads that I've run and helped other people run is basically try to split your ad messaging into 3 main sections. So the first stage is the education phase. This is where you educate them on your solution or your product. So for example, let's say that I'm selling a shirt. I might not need to educate them on why wearing a shirt is important, but let's say that I have like a certain new fabric or a certain kind of shirt that is different from anyone else. On the first stage is I basically want to explain to people why my product or service is different. Next is the prospecting phase. This is where you basically give them deeper information about your product or service. So you basically go over what are called the USPs, or the unique selling points, which are basically things like the price, like your delivery time, maybe anything to do with the product itself. So think about how is your product competitive to other products on the market. And the last one basically is the closing, or the selling phase, where you basically try to get them to basically buy from you. So like maybe give them a discount, maybe tell them that there's only a few left in stock, if that's the case. basically try to get them to like make a sale basically. And with paid marketing, I can actually create what are called ad sequences. So I can basically start with a campaign where I educate them, then I can do what's called prospecting, and then I can close them. So with paid marketing, that's one technique that we teach in our course. Is basically I could make like different forms of ads and then basically run users through those different ads and basically get them from not knowing anything about the product to finally closing. And this is something that you can do with Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, any form of display ad that you run online. You can basically run them through these 3 steps. So yeah, just to go through the different platforms. I mean, like probably like the most famous one nowadays is the paid social media channel. So any form of ad that you see online on a social media channel. And this is usually targeted on what's called demographic targeting, which targets people based on their demographic data. So for example, I could target males that are above the age of 30 that live in this area that are interested in golf, right? I could basically form a demographic or a persona and target them based on that. So that's why, as I mentioned earlier, it's important that you think about your customer persona, and then in these social media channels, I can target that persona. Okay, in terms of pull marketing, the main channel that people usually focus on is Google search ads. And if you search for a term on Google, you'll notice that there's a few different sections here. There's usually on top, there's a paid search ad section. These are basically the ads that you see. And then sometimes there's a map if someone is searching for a certain business. That can be, I mean, you could list your brand on Google Maps through something called Google My Business for free. And then there's a section here called the shopping ads, which are the image ads. So if you're selling something, I recommend to using paid search ads and Google shopping ads, because you only pay per click, which means that if someone doesn't click on the ad, then you don't have to pay for it. So it's really good for performance marketing. If you monitor it correctly, you can basically spend a certain amount of money and try to make that money back if you monitor it and do it in a smart way. And then on the bottom, there's the organic results, which is basically everything that comes as a free channel. Okay, now let's go to the organic or the free channels in e-commerce. So with e-commerce, there's a few sections that I recommend that you focus on. Again, long-term marketing is it's a great strategy. However, you're basically trading time for money, right? So if you want to get customers now, like right now, the only way of doing that is to run paid ads, right? However, if you want to get customers over a long period of time, like let's say over like a 3-month period and slowly grow, then the best way to do that is through organic marketing. And usually most companies, they focus on both. They do some paid and some organic, and they try to find that balance between not spending too much and getting results quickly for their business. And that's what the constant trade-off is how much are you spending versus how much are you lowering your marketing cost. So in general, it's more effective than paid ads, but like I said, you're basically trading money for time because it takes a while to actually build this up. So if you go over the main channels, the first one is known as inbound marketing. This is basically where you focus on getting your site to rank organically on Google. So getting your site to basically appear on Google and rank higher without spending money on it. And that's done through a number of ways. Technical SEO, like getting your page to load faster, signing up for Google Webmaster Tools, submitting your sitemap, making sure that you don't have duplicate content, and then focusing on content, like putting the keywords that you want to rank for on the proper places on the page, like the title, like the header. And then after that, doing what's called link building, where you basically get links, get people to point to your site so it ranks higher. So there's all of these strategies, and we cover them in detail in our course. But yeah, if I focus just on this, it would take me a few hours. Next is social media. So this is basically where you build up your following on social media. And in the next slide, I'm going to give you some techniques to actually post on social media, because it's a common question that I get asked is, I have a e-commerce store, how do I actually post? Like, what do I post? Do I just post my product, or what do I do? So I'm going to explain to you some ways to actually post content that would actually get you customers. Next is I could use what's called referrals or affiliates. That's basically where I get someone else to market my product, and I basically either some kind of a perk, or I actually give them a commission of the sale. So for example, I could say, okay, if you refer a customer to me, I'll give you $10 or $20 or whatever it is. And that's a way basically to build people on the ground that can promote your product and your service without having to pay them unless they actually bring you a sale. And then finally, retention marketing. That's basically where I do email marketing. I gather emails from all my customers. I try to, organically get emails on my newsletter. And I basically try to run automated email campaigns to eventually get them to purchase something from me if I'm running a e-commerce store. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about the inbound funnel. And this is basically, how do I actually post content that people would actually engage with, whether that's on social media or off of social media. So there's a few things that I recommend that you think about. Is you should come up with a calendar of informative and educational content related to your product. So one of the most common mistakes that I find people make is they'll just, start a e-commerce store, and they'll start a Instagram page and just post pictures of their product, right? And that's not really a good way to market your product, because people don't like to be sold to all the time. Generally, if you look especially at the kind of content that people consume, they usually consume two kinds of content. Can anyone guess what the two kinds of content are that people consume online? Let's see if anyone can guess in the chat. So the question is, there are two kinds of content that people consume online. Yeah, informative, educational, that's one. And there's another big one as well. Health, sort of. I mean, health falls under educational. It's basically either to educate or entertain. Exactly, someone mentioned it here. So if you look at any content online that people actually like and they enjoy, either it's entertainment or it's education. And there's not really anything else in terms of broad categories. So if you are selling a product, you either want to entertain them. So either you're a very funny person that can make TikToks and like get an audience that way, or you have to think about what can you give them that's informative. So for example, let's say that I'm selling something like a t-shirt, right? I could basically talk about information on why certain fabrics are better for your body or for your skin. Or I could talk about, for example, ways to keep your shirt ironed, right? Or I could talk about ways to wash certain kinds of like materials of shirts. I can basically think about what information are people looking for in the kind of product that I'm selling. And this could be true for any product. If it's a health product, that's even easier. Like I could talk about, health benefits, like reasons why you should eat healthy, reasons why you should work out. If it's a electronic product, I could talk about, like maybe do a comparison of like different benefits of certain products. No matter what the product is, I could think about information that people could search for that they would find beneficial. So you need to think about what kind of content could I post where even if they don't want to buy the product right away, they'll find the content interesting. So mainly think about ways to produce content that is educational content. And in general, I found that there are really no shortcuts for this. The ways that I found that work best for this kind of content are either things like blog posts, where you write like a 500-word blog post on a certain topic that is relevant and informative for the kind of product that you're offering. Or you could create a newsletter where you share like tips on things. So if it's like a health product, I could start a health newsletter where I share tips on how to be healthy, maybe. You could also do things like live video, like this live video that you're on now. Basically inform people on something. You could also do YouTube videos. So if you're someone that likes to come on camera, you could also create videos, right? So basically think about And like some people don't like to come on camera. So I would say, okay, in that case, produce, blog content or come up with written content instead. But basically there should be some form of content that you can develop that would inform or educate people about the industry that your product is in. And then, yeah, basically just schedule snippets of that on social media and try to build your following that way. That's the way that I found always works for no matter what kind of product it is. Okay, and then I guess like a final thing is on referrals and affiliates. So referrals are basically where you use existing customers to refer other people. Affiliates usually mean that you involve money, so you pay them a commission based on someone that they refer. Referrals could be perk based. So for example, like you could say, refer a customer and I will give you 10% off, right? However, affiliates usually are commission based, which means that they usually have to be paid money to. But again, they're usually only paid if they actually make a sale. So it's a win-win. Usually how this is done for e-commerce is you give them a special link. So you'll share with them a link and say, okay, share this link with your audience, and I'll maybe even give you a discount code. If anyone uses that link or discount code, I'll know that that sale came from you and I can give you a commission based on that sale. So if you look at the two main platforms that e-commerce websites use, like Shopify and WordPress, there are dozens of free referral and affiliate plugins that you could use. So, I mean, some that I've used for WordPress are WP Affiliate. Shopify has some called Affiliately, Refersion. There are literally dozens of them, but I recommend, depending on what platform your site is built on, look for plugins that you can add to your site that basically let you create your own affiliate program. So one way of doing this, like I said, is to create an internal affiliate program where you basically have it on your site. So say, maybe after someone purchases, say, refer a friend and get, like 50% off on your next order. Or you could just have a link on the bottom that says become an affiliate, and then people can become affiliates for you and make money that way. You could also join a external affiliate network. So in the region, there's one called Arab Clicks. Internationally, there's one called ClickBank. There's a bunch of them. But basically, you could think about joining a external affiliate network where they basically will take your content and they'll basically spread it inside of their own network, which would basically give you hundreds and sometimes even thousands of people that can sell your product for you. So I'm sure some of you have seen this if you ever watch YouTube videos where someone might say, this video is sponsored by Squarespace, or this video is sponsored by Audible, right? Those are affiliate programs. Usually they don't actually pay the person to say that, but they pay them a commission for every sale that they make. So if someone says, this video is sponsored by, WordPress, or this video is sponsored by Squarespace, every time someone signs up for Squarespace, they might make $5, $10, $20. And that can add up in the long term. And they might even make more money than being a straight up influencer, because it's a long-term strategy where they can always get more sales. Okay, so yeah, that's the end of my short presentation. I hope you found it beneficial. If you want to learn more about what we offer, you can check out the link astrolabs.com/digital marketing. You can learn more about our course where we cover all of this in detail, where we cover display ads, paid search, organic search, social media, retention marketing, Google Analytics. Then we have also a certification program that helps you get certified. And we also have career support as well to help you if you're looking for a job. Now, this is basically part of our wider push to create a network of people that take our courses and basically help you with your goals of either upskilling constantly, or of finding a job or improving in your career. So there's actually a lot of events that we do for alumni where we do special events for them to help them with their CV, to help them look for different roles, to help them even hire people on their team. And basically, we constantly also share special material and knowledge with them. So it's a lifelong journey with us. Anyway, thank you so much for your time. There's a link also for a survey that I'll share with you. It's in the chat. So if you look at the chat, you can see a link to a survey. And if you share your details here, we would really appreciate it. But also, um, I'll also send you a video and the PDF of what we covered today. So I'll basically share with you everything that we covered in today's session. If you just put in your details in that survey. And also it helps us improve because we do value your feedback, and we're always trying to do better for all of these talks that we do. Thank you so much for your time. If there's any questions, I can take them. Anyone have a question? All right. All right. So thank you so much. And yeah, hopefully see you around one of our future events. Have a good day, everyone. All right. There's a question from George before I go. Can external affiliates help with B2B? Definitely. I mean, B2B can actually be more lucrative than B2C because B2B usually has a higher ticket price. So it can work. However, you have to be more strategic in who you partner with. So I would look for organizations where it's a win-win. So for example, if you're doing like B2B services, maybe you can find a someone that's offering a complementary service. So someone that's offering something that is similar to what you're offering, but not in direct competition. So then both of you can refer clients. So like, let's say, for example, that you do, you work as a tax consultant for businesses, right? And you could partner with someone else that does maybe legal services. And then if you get a client that wants legal services, you'll send it to them. And then if they get one that wants tax services, they'll send it to you. So it's like a win-win. So for B2B, I've seen it work, but you have to find these partnerships that it's a win-win for both parties. All right, everyone. Yeah, so again, I'm just sharing the link one more time. Again, feel free to fill it out. And also I'll be sharing in the chat my email as well. If anyone has any questions, feel free to email me here. And thank you all very much. Have a great day.